1 o'clock arrived. Relatives gathered at a hotel bar to watch Olympic gymnastics on television. So did the First Lady of Belize and 11 contestants in the coming Miss Belize pageant, wearing their sashes and carrying tiny flags. But where was Simone Biles? The women's individual all-around competition had begun 4,000 miles away on Thursday afternoon at the Rio Games. Biles, 19, was the heavy American favorite, but there was also anticipation in an unlikely place, the tiny Central American country of Belize, where she holds dual citizenship. Phone calls were made. Television channels were changed. Beauty contestants were perplexed. Still no live gymnastics. Finally, after 30 minutes, the live feed began on Caribbean television. Biles had already performed her vault routine, but the delayed start did not mute the ecstatic cheering that greeted her second gold medal at the Rio Games. There are big stories unfolding in Belize, including a Supreme Court ruling that affirmed gay rights and the cleanup from Hurricane Earl, which churned through last week. But interest in Biles also has resonated here, in the country's economic capital, as evidenced everywhere from the Prime Minister's residence to the shade of a local plum tree, painted purple and gold, where tour guides talk politics and play dominoes. "We are taking all the gold medals she is going to win," Kim Simpolas-Barrow, 44, the First Lady of Belize, said with a smile. Biles's connection to Belize is as complex and ultimately elevating as the flips, jumps and windmill spins that have made her the best gymnast of her generation, perhaps ever. She was born in 1997 in Columbus, Ohio, to a mother who struggled with addiction to drugs and alcohol, and to a father who was not part of her life. In 2002, Biles's birth mother lost custody of her 4 children, who were placed in foster care and faced the possibility of being scattered by adoption. Instead, Simone, then 6, and her younger sister Audria, then 4, were adopted in 2003 by their maternal grandfather, Ron Biles, and his second wife, Nellie K.A.N.O. Biles, who is from a prominent Belizean family of teachers and nurses and government officials. Nellie is not Simone's biological grandmother. Simone's other 2 biological siblings were adopted by Ron's older sister. Before, Ron and Nellie were known to Simone and Audria as Grandpa and Grandma. Now they are Mom and Dad. Nellie's mother, Evarista K.A.N.O., was a teacher and an owner of a grocery store. Her father, Silas K.A.N.O., also began his career as a teacher, then became an official in Belize's fishing and agricultural cooperatives, and, later, a senator. The original family home, at 118 Neil Pan Road, was made of wood. The family lived upstairs and the store was downstairs. It was a gathering place, where Silas K.A.N.O. held court on weekends, settling neighborhood disputes, telling jokes, spinning stories. It was community central, especially on Saturdays, when the chickens were fresh, said Opal Enriquez, a cousin of Simone's and the director of the Miss Belize pageant. The K.A.N.O. home had opened its doors to the 9 Enriquez children, whose family came to Belize City from the southern town of Punta Gorda. Silas K.A.N.O. had skipped high school, worked at a seminary and passed his teacher's exam at age 19, relatives said. He encouraged his nieces and nephews, as he had his own 4 children, telling them that education was the most reliable way to escape poverty. "Our uncle set the bar high," Enriquez said. "Failure was never an option. He embedded in our brains that we were destined for greatness." Simone listened. "We weren't afraid to dream." When Ron and Nellie Biles adopted Simone and Audria, they had 2 sons of their own who were about to graduate from high school and leave for college. The couple wanted to travel. It would not be easy raising 2 young girls. But the girls needed parents, and adopting them was a no-brainer, said Nellie, 61. "When you grow up, I firmly believe that you see what goes on in the family, what your father and mother do," she said. "And you tend to mimic what you see. It's innate." It wasn't even a question. The extended Biles family is watching Simone compete at the Olympics across 2 continents and 4 time zones. Ron and Nellie and a dozen other relatives are in Rio. Others are in Spring, Texas, north of Houston, where the Bileses live and own a gymnastics center. Still more are scattered in Belize, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. "We're trying to put Belize on the map as much as we can," Nellie, a retired nurse, said. "Simone is competing for the U.S., and we're not taking any credit away from that. But the fact that she has dual citizenship, I don't see why we cannot celebrate her second country also."